We are live.
All right, thank you.
At the door.
There are no minutes. Apparently, none of the cameras were working. And actually, there's no agenda except for things which hopefully someone will bring up. We'll go around the room.
Okay, Dominic's on his way in.
Dominic?
Yeah.
Good. And we'll see what develops. Here's Dom.
Long story.
Hi, Dom. Not aware of anything critical. I know you had some issue over in the so-called secret garden.
Yeah, I just came from there.
Did someone actually, one of our people, plant that big palm tree?
Yeah.
And why haven't the roots of that thing come through that pavement?
Well, they will, and that's the least of our worries. I just got back from there. Now, over the years,
Big coconut palm over there. I had not realized it.
well, every year we have this happen, and they plant a few things, and over the summer they disappear, and I just, that's the way I hold the line. But this year, the residents of the two Dorchester buildings have outdone themselves. They planted trees, little plants, they run a garden hose zip tied to my footbridge.
They want us to install irrigation over there.
Here's my worry, they've planted on the escarpment, you know, the way it comes down.
Bank.
And I'm a little worried about them falling in the canal.
Sure.
So after this meeting, I'm meeting with Eber over there, because most of that's on Eber's property, and we're gonna have to share the heat and tell these people it's all gotta go.
Yeah.
We may have to fence that side of the, of the walkway, just.
Good idea.
Just a 4-foot fence.
I'm surprised
Well,
that,
yeah.
I'm surprised the alligators aren't hanging out over there waiting for someone to fall in.
Let me tell you, that north canal, that section there is so clean. Just now I was there with the fence contractor, so I got a piece there, one fence. I've never seen catfish in those tertiary canals, because they're usually in the middle. They were eaters, they were this big.
Yeah.
I mean, it's snakes, turtles, I mean, it really is grinding. It's an aquarium.
Do any of you remember the lady that kind of started that? Her name was Edith Pekin.
Yes,
And she was a professional gardener. She really knew her stuff. And she kind of got that thing started.
well,
It's very pretty, but
I took some pictures. It is very nice, and I'm aware that people are at the wit's end for something to do. We're in kind of a weird thing, but kind of,
why can't they do it on their own association ground?
they don't like the way the area looks from their windows.
Which brings me to a number of other things. We used to do a real neat thing. I thought it was a lovely thing to do, and it encouraged people to beautify their property. We used to have a yearly contest.
Some people,
Remember?
Berkshire, they still have the sign out.
Yeah.
They won.
So, all right. Nobody
Look, so I'm gonna have, unfortunately, Eber and I are gonna have to be the bad guys, and that has to happen sometimes.
They sent me an email. I told them what had been done before, and I said that we can't put in any water system for you, and then I forwarded it, and then I told them to contact Donald.
So,
Of course, we had been over there about a year ago or something like that.
and we talked nice to them. We
Yeah,
said, don't
yeah.
let it get out of hand, and
They had the opportunity to go ahead and to dig up what was on the fence inward toward their property and just decorate that area.
Right.
And everything on the other side of the fence was they were not allowed to do anything.
Yeah.
And it took them about a year and a half, 2 years to get to where they are right now.
Well,
What motivated them, I don't know.
This kind of happened over the last week or so.
Uh,
What motivated them is boredom,
Yeah, probably.
right? Now, we tried to plant, Stu and I tried to plant on the other side of that walkway years ago with, they call it Florida Zero Escape.
right.
It was a disaster, everything died, because it
There's
turns out they
not-
still
not
need
enough
water.
Water there to sustain anything unless you have it on a sprinkler system or something like that. and the cost is just not
Yeah,
worth
this
the
guy
effort.
wanted us to put in irrigation, put in a pump, yada, yada, yada.
But if you do
Save
it there, you gotta do it somewhere else.
That's the problem.
That's the thing, it grows.
So anyway, that's a uncomfortable thing I have to do this week.
Well, the other thing, very interesting, or Kingswood A. These guys have decided, president, treasurer, they don't wanna pay for cable. They don't wanna pay UCO dues. They clearly have some problems understanding how we're organized here. If they do know, they don't seem to care. So I had Rod put something together, I think I sent it to the treasurer.
I got a copy also.
Yeah, I sent it to you. The essence is, I'm very sorry, but you gotta pay. And what'll happen there yet, I don't know. We'll see.
Oh, it's contagious.
Well, exactly.
They get away with it, everybody else is
Exactly
going
right.
on to it.
I don't
Then
wanna,
where are we?
I don't wanna pay for cable. Give me a break. You know, we could say that. We could kill the cable contract, I suppose. You think people would be upset?
I think the majority would be.
But
No. I mean, I know for a fact, when I've had cable failure, you can put up rapid ears. You can put up rapid ears, point them to West Palm Beach. There's a very powerful transmitter there. You get about 30 channels. Well, you know, it's the religious channel, the cooking channel, yeah, you know, you can go crazy. But apparently some people don't care, like these guys in Kingswood A.
If you take a ride, you wanna know what a condominium community looks like when they decide they don't wanna have a bulk cable contract, just take a ride down Drexel Road. You'll see these developments where there's dishes hanging all over them, dipole antennas.
Oh,
It
yeah,
looks just horrible.
ugly.
Yeah.
They start putting up those little dishes.
Yeah.
I would point out that this is prohibited, by the way, and it's a little dangerous. If you plug one of those little dishes in and you screw it to the side of your building, a good stiff wind will take out a chunk. It'll take that little antenna right down. So my response was not nasty, it was just professional. You gotta pay. So we'll see what happens, we'll see what the next step is. They're asking for a phone call.
I called them on the phone because they left a message for me.
Okay.
No one picked up, but I gave them pretty much what you had indicated in your letter, that they cannot do what they would like to do
Right.
because it's part of the contract. And that if you decide you want to split, you're going to have to get a management company that's going to cost you. And I said, plus you're not going to be able to get in and out of this village. You won't have an ID, we won't give you one.
Right, right, that's
So
that's the other thing.
I never got a call back.
I didn't threaten them with anything,
But I told them what one of the worst bottom line
right, scenario, sure.
scenarios could be.
Okay,
I can tell
Anyway,
you
so that's
this,
what's happening with that.
that I spoke to her more than once. I forgot her name.
there's two guys.
The
There are
treasurer.
two of them.
Trevor.
And
Steinman.
and Sizzle,
And
And
Suspect
actually, I think I spoke to both of them.
right?
And I don't think you're gonna hear the last of it because I gave them the same story that you put in writing, and it was like talking to
They
yourself.
don't care. Very
Well,
strange.
this was all done before they moved here, so they really have no say on it.
Well,
Okay, that's a good point. How long have they been here? How long has that been?
2 years, I think they wanted.
Yeah, well, this is suddenly strange. They see $14,000, they wanna dump. Well, it's not gonna work.
And there's nothing for us to do, we don't invoice the associations. They either pay their bills or they don't.
Well, it's passed through. Cable's a pass through. It costs that building, I think he said $8,000 a year. All right, that's really at the top of my mental stack. Cam, you got got anything for us?
No, nothing of real importance. It's been a tough year, so we've let some stuff go. So I'm in the mode now of driving around and making lists and checking them twice. This Monday morning, the fence on Century Boulevard will be repaired. Tony's got that on the subrogation end, so that'll be paid for. Today, Seacrest planted flowers at the Harvey Hill entrance and at the corner of West and South Drive. Give them a little water, a little time, they'll bloom up nice. We tried to do that at minimum expense, just think about a little something.
All right, on this item. I'm the first to admit, I don't have a good eye for this sort of thing.
I don't even,
But Barbara's comment, I think, was totally out of place.
Absolutely.
That the gates look like shit. They don't look that bad. You know, you can always say, well, we could do better. We can do this, we can do that. But,
at what cost? How much you want to
yeah,
spend?
exactly.
And the other thing I want to get into is every year, let's just rip everything out and redo it. No, we can augment what's already there
Yeah.
and keep the cost to
Yeah,
a
do it in
minimum.
stages.
Hey, that's a waste of money. That's a waste of
You're
money.
telling me.
Something dies, yank it out, put something else.
Donald, I remember as a kid, I used to see over at Rockefeller Plaza up in New York, they would rip every single flower out and put new stuff in.
Yeah.
Seasonal change. And they were doing that like every 90 days. And I would have thought that would be so expensive.
We're in the subtropics.
You know, if it was up to me, I'd plant Pachysandra at both entrances and just clip it when it creeps over the edge of the curb. But I think
The size of the planting area in front of both entrances is minimal.
yeah,
And if you go to Home Depot, you can buy, they have packages of 12 plants like marigolds.
oh yeah,
You get 4 or 5 different colors. Each package is about $14.
Does marigold work down here? I
Yeah,
haven't.
sure, they
Oh, yeah,
go
yeah.
all over the place.
We planted them here and they lasted a long time.
You would rotate the plants every 4 months. And you would get different color arrangements 4 times a year. White remains white, but the other colors are different, and it's how you put it in.
Sounds nice.
Originally, out in front, we had hired the horticulturist from down the road, Myers. The girl came in, we told her we would like some Japanese rock garden with flowers around it. And they put it in, and it really was attractive. Soon after that, the gang,
Gang
did-
before.
yeah, that's right, and I don't know, it was 3 or 4, they got their hands on it. The
Tore it
next
up.
thing we knew, the plants were gone, and so were the stones that we paid for, we never were able to find out where they were put. And so that was the end. Otherwise, the stones would have remained there, the plants would have been put, different plants each time, in the stone area, and we would have had less plants, and
The
it
stones
would
take up
cost us less
space.
money, and it would have been beautiful.
Right.
But what's her name has nothing else to do but drive by
Yeah,
the super duper expensive condo associations outside, stop and take pictures, and want to know why we don't have that.
Right.
Well, because to them, their budget is a hell of a lot different than ours.
You should remind her of the old saying by Confucius. You can lead a whore to culture, but you can't make her think. Boy,
Feeling a little thirsty.
All right,
Hey!
with that, we'll,
-6.
it's a little too clever for certain people, I think.
all right.
What else?
What else?
Next Saturday, we're gonna clean this roof. I kinda let it go. I thought it was only a year, and I thought, wow, it's like that roof got filthy in a year, but it was actually 2 years. So they're gonna get up there and blast that. Gotta be careful with doing this roof, because every time they jump up there, we wind up breaking a tile
It's
out.
brittle, yeah.
I wanted to get up there as much as possible and not stand on the roof. Put the scaffold.
Don't they
up.
use a high boy?
They use a high boy, but to get up to the peak, they just can't reach it.
I got you.
So we'll do our best. You had a question?
What?
Just to get back to what David said, I don't believe that.
Well,
you know, you get those high boys, those things extend out 20 feet.
It's what they have, you know,
And the other question I had, I may have mentioned it to Donald, is there something we can put on that roof
Really,
that's slippery, some kind of silicon-based something that, I mean, you're not gonna stop the particulate matter from depositing, but it might come off a lot more easily if there was something slick up there. I don't know what that
we
something
used
would
to
be.
treat the white guardhouse roofs with a citrus product. And the idea there is when the rain came, it would
Wash it off.
self-clean. That can't be used on terracotta,
Okay,
because that's porous. As far as him getting up there, he does a great job when he gets up there with that rotary machine.
yeah.
He gets it, but the problem is I'm on pins and needles that he's gonna break a tile.
I don't even, well, I didn't watch what they do, so I shouldn't really say, but I don't even know why I have to get up there with a rotary machine. I can't believe they just can't use a good power washer.
yeah, well, that's what I was thinking
Well, that's kind of what I want them to do.
on the high
Yeah.
board.
Exactly.
So, anyway, it's a Saturday, I'll be here.
Um,
Pretty sure you will.
The only
as well.
problem is, in driving that highboy, you gotta know what you're doing.
That's
God forbid you smack that carriage into the roof.
Yeah.
You'll do some damage, but I've never, it shouldn't be a problem.
The weak link in the whole thing is that you have shingles overlapping shingles.
Right?
If you fire the water from down below,
Of course.
it's gonna go up between shingles, and we're gonna have
Yeah.
stains on the ceiling.
Gotcha, you gotta come in from
So
the
you gotta
top.
come in from the top and fire it.
Yeah,
To the
of
gut.
course, of course.
What about, you said about putting something on there? I mean,
Something slick.
Problem is, problem is-
WD-40 is made actually to displace water, that's what it means. Water displacement 40, that was Formula
You know
40.
what the 40's for?
That was a 40
39 failures.
Yeah,
No, seriously.
I one word.
exactly, it's the 40th,
39th
it's the 40th,
Look, it was just an idea. I don't know if it's feasible.
I actually asked that question from a roofer recently, and the recommendation I got was put nothing on terracotta, it's supposed to be porous.
No.
Leave it be. We're not the first person to think of that.
I don't know if you remember, years ago, I actually went through the exercise of counting. I'm trying to figure out where all this black soot was coming from. Well, there's like 3 or 4 sources. On average, 60,000 vehicles pass this village every day, seasonal average, on 3 highways. Additionally, you're in the landing and takeoff corridor of lots of jet aircraft, and they just spew unburned particulate. And believe it or not, the Chinese who yell at us, you know, I've heard them say, you know, you had your industrial revolution, we haven't. They have these huge coal furnaces, fired furnaces, and the junk gets up into the stratosphere and it comes right down on us in 3 days. Stuff coming out of those furnaces. It's very, the air here is filthy.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not good for you to breathe if you have respiratory problems. And if you want to prove that, you just take a nice white piece of oak tag and you leave it out overnight. And you can write your name in the black soot. And it gets in everywhere. I mean,
Yeah. Every
So-
2 years to clean that roof isn't really that bad if you think about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Let it get really filthy and then
yeah, okay.
Alright, other than that, I've got a paving proposal in, Tom and I will go over that probably tomorrow. After that, we'll get proposals on striping.
Sure.
The next phase is, I'm looking at our secondary roads, for instance, Glencoe Street going to the fitness center. And I want to do the stripes everywhere where there's walkway where we share, with Parking Street. Get a good visible stripe down there.
Okay. I thought we just did stripe.
We did the main roads.
Perimeter road,
Yeah, okay.
and it's like a,
I'm not looking to stripe the whole village.
When you have nothing else to do,
Oh, yeah, that's now.
read young Dimitri, the Riot Act.
Huh.
We spent $4,000 for his company to put this system in,
Let's do better than that. Let's bring him in.
and it needs to work.
Let's bring him in.
And he keeps trying to do it remotely, and it fails. We need this camera system to work.
Let's bring him in, and I want John Gregg to be there as well.
Fine.
Done. Good.
All right.
You also gave me an assignment on Monday, and I haven't gotten to it yet.
Who?
You had asked me to check the code on the numbers on the sides of the building and the bumpers. I just haven't gotten to it yet.
Okay. This was something spit out at a security meeting by Captain Calloway. That's how long ago this surfaced. That there is some kind of code, maybe in the ULDC, that you're not supposed to have a direct equation to the marking on the wheel stop and your apartment. In other words, if you live in 101 Andover A, you're not supposed to put 101 Andover A on that wheel stop because it's a flag to an observant criminal for cars that go away for, and then they figure out, well, that apartment's empty.
No.
You're supposed to have a random notice on there. Now, I meant to verify that. He just spit that out, but I have not actually been able to find that in code, and I'd be interested if it's real.
I may be able to get that out of Seacrest, because they're the ones.
Okay, fair enough.
We'll check.
Ed, you have it in yours.
I
go
did it because we were redoing the stops, but you have to make a schedule and give that schedule to
Oh,
everybody.
yeah, of course.
To the building.
Otherwise, you're gonna have fights. Oh, that's my space, that's
Yeah.
my space. So you're right.
And especially if you have turnover. I had maybe 2 comments at the beginning. I told them what you just said. And I said, what do you got to lose? It's another measure. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But so far, it's been about 2 years. That was it. The only problem is you had a new person move in, and you have to make sure you give it to them. And with that, I think I mentioned this before, when you get an application, because it just really happened, and people put down an emergency number, don't take it at face value. Because
Right.
a couple of weeks ago, we must have saw the fire engines. I took title in the morning. In the afternoon, we had 5 fire engines. He wasn't around. I went to the application, 2 numbers, both were retail stores.
Yeah.
They were closed. I called it, I looked it up, I have that, program that if you put a name in, it'll bring up people. I called, no one was home. No one was home, and when he came, and we didn't have a key.
It's hard.
When they come in as a new tenant owner, make sure you get the key at that time.
Well, you could always use the fireman's pass key.
Well,
What that's called?
Yeah,
crowbar.
Axe.
yeah, of course, the new doors run $1,500 to
Yeah.
$2,500.
All right.
It doesn't cost you anything to try it.
There's another thing that hasn't been validated, the fact that we have to have a 4-inch letter.
Yeah, that'd be nice to know if that's
Transfer,
real code.
Yep.
and where can you put it? You got a
Right.
3-inch style on the top of the door.
To be off on the side, wouldn't it?
That's what we
Kind
decided.
Which probably isn't the best practice.
Right.
Punch holes in your wall. All right. So,
Now, as far as that goes, if you've ever been to John's place, they got a nice solution to that. They have little plaques by each door with the number.
okay.
And it looks nice, it looks really nice.
Yeah, I guess you could have a decorative, you'd want to make them reasonably uniform, I would think. People will,
With the glues and the tapes they have today, you can put it on there and glue and leave it.
Where is the supply store that carries enough for $7,850 for a
oh yeah,
doorway?
good luck.
Yeah,
You'd have
It's gotta
to,
be uniformity.
we'd have
You
to
know what?
look at a vendor and get a bulk buy. Yeah,
We,
good point.
last time we did the doors, we put in large numbers and I did measure them after this and it was 4 inches.
Yeah.
Just 4
So
inches.
it might-
And most of the old doors, it wasn't a problem because they're wood. Okay, I don't know if drilling into the building is a smart idea, because every
I
time,
don't either.
when you make a hole,
Now,
it gets bigger.
I thought that those entry doors, well, I think this is code. There's kind of a wood frame, but there's what they call a 2-hour metal covering,
Yes.
The door is recessed,
right?
so the frame is basically from the inside, the molding. On
Right.
the outside, it's wood against stucco, so.
I thought it was a metal plate. It's supposed to have a 2-hour fire door rating.
The skin,
Yeah.
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 what I have, the wood door.
Yeah, me
with the
too.
metal skin.
All right, so these are code things. Pain in the ass to try to research them. I don't know if you've ever had the joy of trying to find something in the ULDC. Just a joy. You have to be an expert in just coming up with search phrases. All right, got anything else?
No, that's it. Anybody have any questions to me?
Yeah, any questions for Cat? All right, let's go around.
Nothing?
Let's go around, whatever floats your boat to bring up. Sorry, there's no agenda, which brings up our pet peeve. We gotta get an admin in here.
I have 3 items.
Oh, go.
I'm sure that two of them can be quickly done. First of all, have we made a decision on the executive board meeting for tomorrow?
Unless there is something to be voted out here
Then
that
let's,
needs to go through the
That's fine.
process,
let's have it
I would say
canceled.
cancel it.
Okay, that's fine with me.
All right.
Will you take care of that now?
Immediately.
Okay. And the next thing is, I think we should post it on your blog if you would, and also try to get it on the community channels that delegate forms have to be in by 12 o'clock Wednesday.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, very good. Yeah.
I talked to Sandy about it. She said, well, if you do it the day before, you have to run those sheets, you have to run a test sheet to make sure that they come out right. So Thursday is the day that you actually run the test sheets. And it can get, if it's updated constantly, it's gonna throw everything off.
You
So
know,
she said the last time that she did it, it was the Wednesday before the election.
this is important. We've got an election coming.
We,
That's to eliminate write-ins.
No, that's to eliminate the sheets that Bob has to print out so they can be distributed.
He's got to have a cutoff, a
Exactly.
reasonable
Yeah.
cutoff.
And that,
And
and she
actually-
said the last time that she did it, that's what we did here, that's what we did here. It was the close of UCO business,
Wednesday, was it Wednesday?
Wednesday before the election.
What day is that, Tuesday? The
That would be
second?
the 3rd.
Yeah.
Isn't the election on the
the
5th?
bid,
Fifth.
Election's on the 5th.
On the 5th.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
tremendous.
So, I mean, we got, Bob's doing a lot of work on there. We gotta give him time to get everything, once it's done, to get everything
I've-
coordinated.
I've actually got caught up today,
Oh, I understand that.
alright,
But
with
if you-
everything
if you let-
except for the
Yeah.
4 that I have
That's the
here at my
problem.
desk.
People last minute change.
Alright,
You know, and I don't, and Sandy told me that nothing was accepted
Right.
after that time.
Okay.
All right.
I remember
And I'll make a motion that we do that.
George had a policy that used to drive
I'll
me
second.
nuts. 2009, you could come running up to that sign-in table the day of the event. Here's a new sheet.
I'll make a motion that we close them. UCO business hours at that day is 12 o'clock on Wednesday the 3rd.
I'm not sure you need to do this. I think I saw it in our bylaws. I
Well,
think that Wednesday is enshrined.
That, it's
don't remember
it's
that.
etchy.
Fine.
But my point is, let's make it, I'll make a motion, let's vote on it, and we'll go from there, and if we would just post it on your blog and also,
I can send it out in a bulk email.
whatever, I don't really care, but I think it's important. I don't think it's gonna, I don't think you're gonna have a whole lot of people come up at the last minute, but that way you avoid that,
Right.
because we wanna try to get people in and out of there smoothly because
Sure.
of the COVID. We don't want people coming up there
Right.
arguing, but, well, I should be
Piling up
able
with
to
the
do this.
Right.
It's a safety feature as well.
I'll get John into the loop, make sure there's enough lines,
Oh, yeah, he'll do that, but I'm just
keep
saying about.
things moving.
Yeah, I'm just saying about that, that's gonna keep people from running up to the clubhouse and saying, well, here's my form. Well,
Right,
sorry, you're done.
Wait,
too late. Okay? That's it?
Well, I'd like to make a motion that.
I'll second it.
It'll second that?
Okay. Any further discussion on this item?
Okay. I hope you don't mind, I wrote it out.
Okay,
Cutoff date time for update to officer delegate and cert contact reports for 2021 shall be March 3rd at
12 noon,
12 p.m.
12 noon.
Okay, we gotta get this message out right away.
Well,
Oh. Wellington A, no doubt.
of course. I tried to get 3 other buildings.
You wanna call it?
Yeah.
Okay. Wait a minute.
Get the motion.
now that's neither AM or PM, it's 12 noon.
Oh, yeah.
Which is
12.
p.m. 12 p.m.
I don't know that,
12 p.m. is noon.
Well, if it's 12:01, that's PM and they're too late, so that's whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what 12 noon is.
12 a.m. would be midnight.
Yeah, that's right.
Make it 11:59, and you got it covered.
Okay.
Could go to Zulu time, but forget it.
All right. David,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Dominic,
yes,
Stuart,
Yes.
David,
Yes,
me, yes. Mary, no. Mary's absent, so is possible.
Oh, Mary's absent? Oh, I didn't notice.
thank
I
you.
saw it.
You did?
Yeah.
No.
It's called an apparition.
I have one other thing
It's in.
to bring up. I had a talk with Daniel this morning,
Dan Cruz?
Dan Soleo.
Our Dan, yeah.
And this is in reference to the satellite pools with the rover situation from WPRF.
Oh, boy, yeah.
Now, Ed Black and I approached Eva when they were having problems with at the door on show nights because there was a lot of traffic coming in, and Daniel and David would go there a few hours and help them out, but you have to go through Eva, and Ed and I had approached her, and Ed did the finalization on that. I talked to Daniel about this, and I said, this was just because seems that we're having this problems at the satellite pools. It's a little concentrated right now. I said, this isn't a permanent solution, but maybe until we can work out something. I said, would it be possible for you to have your rover or yourself or David do this? And he said, I would like to keep my rover out of it, but I wouldn't mind. He said, he and David would certainly be the second responder, not the first responder, if there's a time lapse or something like that. He said he feels more confident that he and David would be able to handle that situation a little bit better than just having the regular rover from our side do it. Now, I said, I know they have their territory up there, we have our territory up there, we'd have to approach that. But he said he would be willing to do that, and David would be willing to do it too, if it's okay with that part.
Yep.
I said, temporary basis, just until, and I'm trying to find a solution until we come up with a solution, just to give them a little help out.
Look, it's a very good idea, but dotting i's and crossing t's, we gotta get Eva's chop.
That's what I'm saying. I said, I
Okay.
mean, I would, if I get the permission from the board, I would approach Eva with that.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Right.
You know, they know what their workload is, they know what,
Oh, I understand.
what the
I told them
boundaries are.
specifically, said, this is not to take you away from something that you're doing.
Right.
If you're involved in something, then it's gonna have to wait until the WPRF rover gets there.
Because of our organization,
Right.
there's a little built-in conflict between Steve up there and Daniel here.
Exactly.
So we gotta make sure that Eva's on board.
I said, I was just trying to find a helping situation to alleviate a temporary problem.
Right. Right, yeah.
Right, the timing on this is kind of critical, and this is why we're coming into Passover. The word I'm getting is that we could expect double the amount of grandchildren that we normally are swarmed with. And here's the problem, they're not gonna be allowed to get guest pass. So what are these kids gonna do? There's nothing, there's no playground, there's no guest pool, but they're coming.
Why no guest passes? The clubhouse is shut.
Yeah.
They were shut down because of COVID, but the kids are still coming. So this might be a
Raises all
seasonal thing that we
kinds-
can do just to get us through this heavy time, you know?
Raises all kinds of issues.
I think we
These
all,
kids,
yeah, we all know Daniel and David, and they're pretty good ambassadors. I think they would be able to handle the
They're
situation.
mature enough to diffuse the
you know,
problem
you're
right
talking
now.
a lot of kids. They're unvaccinated kids. They're just classic vectors for this virus.
Well, I mean, I'll approach Eva, and if she shoots it down, she shoots it down, but I mean, I'll
Yeah,
certainly
okay, fine.
do
Look,
that.
they're saying that kids are not as susceptible, so.
That's correct.
It should not.
But they're carriers.
That, I don't, that's not the real issue. The real issue is that they're not supposed to be there.
Exactly.
And then,
Good luck.
what's
I
that?
understand.
They're
But
gonna-
I'm just
they're
trying
gonna-
to, I'm just trying to throw something in there that would help them out a little bit.
It's almost
nicely
certain that there'll be bum rushes on these cellular phones. You blame the parents, they have no place to bring these kids.
Yeah, I'm sure that we'll be able to work something out.
And they would, and, okay, I'll approach Eva about it.
Sure.
If that's okay with everyone here. I'll do that.
Fine. Oh, yuck.
That's everything from me.
You wait lunch, I did.
That's my, that was my agenda item.
You're supposed to heat that. All right, anything else, Dave?
No, those were my agenda items. Thank you. Thank you for your support.
Great. Dom,
There has been a preponderance of people inquiring in investigations. People don't know what's going on in the village.
really?
Yeah, it's, you know, it's pretty rough.
It's kind of nothing new.
Yeah,
Like
it's
what? New people, I would
Well,
expect that, but
We have eliminated the realtor from bringing in the papers. It has to be somebody on the board. And the realtors keep coming and coming, and they have no idea of the process.
if a realtor brings in an app, how do we know it's real? How do we know the board is even on board?
Exactly.
Right?
I was never
And you wanna know,
comfortable.
and you don't wanna know something? Sorry to butt in here, but the people that, Century 21, Susan Wolfman, Masters Real Estate, even Pat Penio, they have no problem with it. It's the outside
The outside,
realtors that have the problem with it.
I got a suggestion for that.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, invite all these realtors in and give them a class on what the procedures are.
All right, here's the problem. Like David said, our in-house people, they know the system. They're not the problem. It's these one-shot deals from Dade County and you know, they're here once and you're never gonna see them again.
Oh, boy.
All right, here's the problem. I was never comfortable taking those applications from realtors because they're not board members, but I inherited that. We've used the COVID situation was a way to stop that from happening. I think when it's all over, we should continue that way.
What do you do with a realtor who's only got one thing on his mind?
Exactly right.
His commission. And it pushes through something that the board is not on board with.
It's
Now what do we do?
right. It's happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Now look, the board, if we process it, there's an authorization page with a signature of a board member.
Right.
And for the most part, we know who's who, and we've never known of a situation where an agent forged a board member's signature, but it might have happened. By not having them in this building, it's not a problem.
I think personally, I'm on the camera, okay. I think we've made the right decision in requiring a board member to bring these things in here.
I'm fine with just leaving it that way.
Yeah, but it's not known to all
And picking up.
realtors though,
Right,
that's the problem.
And picking up.
They were never allowed to pick up.
right.
Board members?
Realtors.
Realtors were never permitted to pick up, for obvious reasons.
Anything else, Tom?
No, that's it for now.
That's a good point.
That's a good one. Good. All right.
Question for Don.
Yeah.
Just a reminder, Dom, I think it's almost 3 months ago, I sent you an email about having the bid committee research. I gave you 2 suggestions and whatever you wanted. Outfits that do these
Background checks.
background checks.
Yeah.
And that's been close to 3 months. And
I
you
don't know
remember
if that's
that?
part of the purview of the bid committee though.
I guess my first question, even before that, assuming we were looking for alternates, my first question would be, are we unhappy with the current company? Or
Their pricing.
are the prices of another company so much better with a similar product, making apples to apples, that this is something we want to do? I mean, you raise an issue. Should we be going out to bids occasionally just to keep vendors on their toes? And in other words, don't make it look like once you're in here for life.
It's been over, yeah.
Well,
That's kind of what I'm hearing in your question.
my question, the reason I raised it,
Yeah.
is always gonna, 95% gonna be economic.
Right.
I did some research, and the one outfit that I recommended is very old.
What's the name of it? It's okay. It's okay.
It's almost over 100 years old, it's larger. And competitive numbers, item for item, the major number is, this is from memory, $10 a unit cheaper, but the other caveat is the research that they do for purchases, okay, produces a report that covers every borough in the city of New York and every other state where we're paying close to $100 extra for that. And there was a caveat to that too, is they will not report to you for nothing as part of that report. If Joe Blow had 3 charges but was never convicted, they will give you anybody that was convicted, and that's part of the standard report that they give.
But there's nothing you can do.
Right, this is actually a good point. We've been with Scott Ralph for some time, since before I came here. I've worked in and overseen investigations now for going on 8 years. We use Scott Roberts as our agency. Scott Roberts is considered to be the gold standard in Palm Beach and Broward County. All of Palm Beach uses them, and there's a reason for that. Their standards are designed to keep associations out of court. They're to keep you from running afoul of the Fair Credit Act 1968. Now, I've been here, I'm going on 8 years that I started in that. I've counted over 10,000 screen reports. How many times have we been taken to task for violations of the Fair Credit Act? Zero.
It's not going to happen.
And there's a reason for that, and it's because of the standards that if we don't meet their standards, and if they're If our application process is flawed, they just won't do the work for us. We're well trained now because we basically worked to their standards for so long. But I'm in the process now of working a new condominium into the Scott Robbins world, and it is, your word, a goat road. They are tough. And if you don't follow their standards, they'll give you an email address to go to. Yeah, go on here, just pull your reports, take your chances.
A number of their top executives, we've had them in here.
Yeah.
Our prior law enforcement, one's FBI. That's why my first question was, are we unhappy with their product? Now Ed brings up another component.
Money.
If you can get a similar quality investigation, which is incredible, for $10 less, well,
And it's,
I think we owe it to our unit owners to at least investigate. Wouldn't you think?
It's not
At
just,
least hear from these people.
it's not just the $10, it's the additional charge that brings us up to $144 in many cases because of the city of New York. Now, I didn't do a super in-depth. I did get all the information from Scott Robertson. It's been a while, I forgot the other outfit. I didn't look for Joe Blow, who's out in the corner. They maintain, they've been in business for 100 years. They have more than one office. They got 90 in staff, and they're in Miami. And I don't think it hurts
I
to
don't think
review.
it would kill us to hear from them, that's all.
I have no problem with that, but I really think it should be a face-to-face meeting.
I agree.
I'm not a Zoom person on this.
No, we can have them in.
Well, just
We've done that before.
presentation.
I'll tell you, one thing was mentioned here, it kind of flew by, as to convictions reported only, and I'm not happy with that. I want to see the court docket. And believe you me, I have personal, direct experience with this issue, where people have gotten clever lawyers and have page after page of charges. One lives right next door to me. Discharge of a firearm in a dwelling, and it goes on and on and on and on. You've never seen anything like this New York court docket on this Jonathan Braff, and I would have never let him into our building had I seen that in advance. I want to see these charge sheets. The fact that they were not convicted, if you have 5 pages of charges, there's something there.
Yeah.
You've gotten a clever lawyer who got you out of things. And that's fine, but I think it's good to know. Right?
All right, I agree. I think having a new vendor in to give a presentation is a good idea. Especially since I consider investigation services to be akin to other professional services like engineers or lawyers. It's like you brought your lawyer in for a sit down before you made a decision, and cost is part of that.
And
Let's do it.
another personal experience, and you're all aware of what happens with the cable contract. You know, the sine qua non was Comcast.
And then,
That's all you used to hear is Comcast. And admittedly, the vote was very close. I'm sure you recall. But Comcast is gone.
If we take that vote right now, it would not even be close.
No, I think you're right.
Yeah.
So, I kind of agree with that. I don't see any reason not to be searching for
I agree.
alternatives in any area of endeavor.
and it never hurts to take a presentation because it's free school.
Yeah.
You never know what you're gonna pick up from these
Can I
programs.
have a couple of their executives come in, brief us? I'd love it. Love it.
Okay.
It's
Bring
great.
the information in, I'll make it happen.
I'll look it up. I quite
And
frankly,
just one thing.
Yes.
I make the contact with the contractor, it's very important. Just give me the contract information and I will make the.
I'll give you the contact.
Thank you.
I met the contact at the, the fair,
Yeah,
the
Yeah, me too, I know who you're talking about.
The expo.
Yeah.
The purpose of the bid committee is to respond to the CAM.
The RFP that I create.
He decides to create, and we as a committee decide dollar for dollar,
Oh, yeah, gotcha.
product for product, who gave us the best deal.
And like I said,
That's-
I consider this to be a professional service.
So-
I wouldn't write an RFP for this, I'm not qualified to, for one thing.
I
This is,
would- I
this is
would
like
hope-
a lawyer or an engineer, you gotta get them in here and see how you feel about it.
I'm not against it, but I do feel in general, and not that we have all this extra time, and that goes back for experience, many times when you have a vendor for X amount of time, you
It's
sort of
got to
get
place.
pushed into the pile.
Yeah.
And it doesn't hurt, you don't have to have 12, I'm not just talking about this, to have one or two other vendors come in and review, even if you pick up something. Not, if you're overburdened, I didn't say do it tomorrow,
No.
but I think it should be a response. And when you say it's up to Donald, I don't know, I don't think Donald has the same experience I have in picking accounting firms.
And I have no
Exactly right.
experience.
But that's his
So,
job to
yeah,
entertain vendors.
I do agree that he has more experience in the area that his expertise is, which is digging up, fixing and stuff like that. Last time I fixed something, I had to call in someone else to refix it.
Call Donald and our toilets are blocked.
So,
Yeah, just make the contact. It won't kill us to hear from them. If they got a good deal for us, we should hear about it. No doubt.
and maybe we can get the same report from Scott Roberts.
I think that this is a big account, and I think anything we ask them for, they'll give us. They'll be glad to do it.
Okay. Okay.
All right, you have anything else? No, that's it. Stu?
Just a strange thing that I've been noticing as I ride around. The number of people who are riding their bicycles without holding on to the handlebars and looking at their phone. I just saw it just 2 minutes, 5 minutes before I got here. But I've seen it more often than not. A guy riding his bike straight down the road and looking at the phone.
Texting and bicycling?
Great.
Yeah. It's a phenomenon. It's developing, yes.
Stupidity abounds.
Oh, yeah.
It's
it's,
incredible.
You know, stupid is as stupid does, but still in all,
That someone at our
It's,
age would
something
retain
that-
those balancing skills.
yeah. I mean,
That's terrible.
the guy's an idiot is an idiot,
Yeah.
and that's all there is to it. But I didn't know if anybody had noticed it, so I'm just calling it to your attention.
Okay, we could have, this would take tremendous diplomacy, and it would probably encourage confrontation, which worries me. I mean, we could have Daniel's people just maybe say something to these folks. You know?
Well, it's hard to say anything if you're driving and they're going that
Listen,
way.
I had people walking in the street. I had Daniel's people
Bad
say,
enough.
"Ma'am, would you please not walk on the street?" And the blue streets they got, you wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, that's the problem.
But there's another problem. On the side streets, people walk with the automobiles coming from behind them.
Yeah,
You want to face what's
Let's
coming
see.
at you so you can sidestep,
right.
because the side streets are darker and so forth at nighttime.
This is basic safety and protocol.
How about you?
We brought it up, it's not just the bicycles, I agree with you, but especially in our circle, you know, around, you can't see anybody in the middle of the night. They're walking with dark clothes and they're in the middle of the street.
No, I see it all.
I think we should emphasize it doesn't cost a bunch to have some sort of luminous patch or something.
Yeah.
Because I gotta tell you, especially, most people have a jacket or something on, other people wear black. You know, and you gotta be almost on top of them to see them.
I have that on Elizabeth Street all the time.
And we lit that road up.
Oh, yeah. Even with the new
We
lights.
put in a couple of new, yeah, I hear you. Anything
Can't
else?
we get a little
That's
badge
it.
or something?
It would
Maybe
be-
an
it would be
article.
nice- It would be nice if you could give them, tell them to use a flashlight, but they can't.
A flashlight is good, that's extra carry.
But they
How about
can't.
just a button that goes on your clothes? You you know, that reflects.
That, to me, that kind of brings back the
Only a
days
black
of
one
putting
is
on
coming.
a
Well,
village
you don't
dog.
have,
Here we go.
that's not on a number.
You don't want that.
Well,
You don't want that.
a lot of the sneakers today come with it.
You know, I've seen quite a bit of that. I saw it this morning because I do my first roll usually 5:15 while I'm drinking my coffee. And I'm noticing people are wearing sneakers with the reflectors on them. And all I see is the sneakers because everybody's black from the, wearing dark clothes. But I do see them.
It's awesome.
But with
Something new.
lights, with lights?
No, a
No.
reflective tape on,
Okay,
on
yeah.
it
Yeah,
works.
sneaker.
I like
Some
just,
sneakers come with that.
Now, they do have little armbands, which again,
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, you
like
know.
you can put a little, just a reflective armband on everyone.
Stu, you
Require anyone that walks out.
I have nothing
Wanna
else,
do an
I was just
article?
envisioning an X on somebody's black coat on
Yeah.
the back, that's all we
And you
need.
can't, you can't
Oh,
force
boy.
people to change their
No.
clothing, just to conform to.
but I do see reflective
You
clothing.
can't change the
Sneakers
clothing
are
and
something
it's
new.
called,
and
it's
they
almost
just-
Would
impossible.
you like
to
to
change the
have
culture.
a try at an article? I'll run it by PBSO. We'll try to put something together that's not obviously discriminatory.
Sure.
I have the same problem. Before they put the new street lights in on Elizabeth Street, I remember I had to slow down to 3 miles an hour when I turned in there because you never knew if someone was going to be there in
Yeah.
dark clothing and you couldn't see them.
You could pick up one person, perhaps, but there were four beside them,
Right.
so.
So maybe an article. Think about it.
Okay.
Couldn't we, just as a thought, consider that luminous stuff comes like on a tape,
Right.
that, I don't know how much those tapes cost, but maybe, like with the mask down, you should offer, come in and we'll give you 2 inches of tape or something like that. I think someone's gonna get killed with that for sure.
Yeah.
You can't keep them out of the pool, you're not gonna give them tape and they're not gonna come in.
Well, you
They-
could drown them.
They ignore us.
Yeah.
You
Until
say
the day
you're
that
making
somebody gets hurt.
generalizations.
Safety.
But at least we're gonna make an effort
You
to
could probably get
attempt
someone.
to correct the problem, and what else can you do?
It's a safety issue.
Yeah,
wonder if
you
we
can
could-
lead a horse to, or a person to water, but they're not gonna.
We could get someone from AAA to make a video for us.
What about a giveaway?
AAA.
No,
Free,
what
about a giveaway?
free turkey?
Well, no, we can,
It's
listen,
gotta
when I
be
had, when I
How
had to
about
buy,
triple?
when I had to buy reflective vests for the registration event, I went to the Harbor Freight. I think it was like $2-3, and if we bought them in bulk, maybe $1.50, $2, really cheapy things, but, you go on, I don't care, and just, maybe we do a giveaway to raise awareness.
Well, some
How
kind
about
of
a baseball
catchy
cap?
title, Be Bright at Night, or.
You-
I think
I
just,
don't know.
I personally think the giveaways a good thing, would be a good thing.
Give away a
Just-
baseball cap
just
with a reflector in the front.
A little reflector that they can put on their cuff, all right, with Velcro, all right, and so that when they walk down the street, people are gonna see that. That'll be for everyone, and I'm saying, if you do this, you're gonna take 2 and put on each door in the village,
The door?
on the door,
We can
in
You
the
mean to
village.
hang it?
we could do
Yeah.
a door, we could
Just
do a
hang
door
it,
hanging,
hang
that's
it.
Judy.
Hang it on the village.
yeah.
That means everybody gets it.
All I know is that, every single day, I see people walking on the walkways wearing those, free giveaway from the 5K walk t-shirts that they get from Century Village Realty. People wear stuff if you give it to them.
Right.
I don't know, something you gotta think about.
Now,
Want me to just get
Those
it
shirts cost $10.
No, what I'm
You know
talking
what?
about is $3.
I would be willing to donate money towards a free giveaway.
I'll join you on that. But Donald, maybe you should talk to AAA.
That's what I just said, would they do a safety video for us?
More than a safety
We have
video,
a
maybe they
unit
have
owner-
something.
We have a unit owner who is just about to retire from the Palm Beach Safety Council. Maybe that's where we can go.
All right. Anything else,
That's it.
Stu? Well, why don't we hear from Ed?
Ed,
Ed, you got anything?
you
Well, good afternoon, everybody. There was a meeting a month or two ago where you weren't in attendance for whatever reason. And Bob took minutes for that meeting. It never were read. I read it, he put it online. And one of the things he omitted, was at the end of that meeting, I brought up what I think is a major problem, and it went nowhere. So
What is this?
I prepared a little memo, which I will give out, which makes me stand up.
No, you don't have to
And-
stand up. Excellent, thank you.
That's a little memo?
That's a memo.
Thank you.
I got it, just pass it down to me.
You got it. Here's another one.
That's it, that's all we need.
And just as an aside, I didn't give out this, which I think is an important part of this memo. I'm asking to have a meeting with a company called Ops.
Greg Cox.
Greg Cox at
Overnight production services.
Right, because, take a minute, read my memo, and I could bring you in a stack this thick from the latest issue where I have to go through and cut out every single article, put it on a piece of paper, go back and look. In my humble opinion, and if you read their proposal, what they call they're supposed to do, they're not doing it. And part of it says they're supposed to give to me, it's part of it, accounting information, information on any new purchaser. And the last time I got it,
Advertiser?
yes,
Okay.
it's right in here. It says the accounting department, I think I'm part of the accounting department, and one says the treasurer.
Yes.
Sure. I didn't put it for everybody, but I think everybody should get it. And I had asked Greg Cox to have a meeting. At one point he said yes, and then he said no. And the reason I want to have a meeting because I have a stack this thick of documentation, but I don't want to just throw it at people. Fortunately, I've got two very ambitious and hardworking volunteers, but it does not preclude them, that's Ops, nor the reporter staff, from giving me the information that every advertiser is supposed to have. And if you read this, that's the only department where that kind of documentation is not available and put into the database. Now,
The contracts.
the contracts. And I could go on and on of how much flack we've taken, that ads have gone in that are beyond the contract, refunds haven't been made. We made a refund of $210 that was over a year old, okay? There's so much more.
Where do these contracts go?
I have no idea. All I know is, and that's why I want everybody here, including Greg, including Myron, who's not involved anymore. Okay, I went to his house. I told you that before. I got him on the phone actually over the weekend. And my guess is, just like Mary Patrick, you're not gonna see him here anymore.
All right, let me understand the mechanics. I've seen these little, it's a single page.
Right,
The advertiser checks the sort of ad he wants.
right.
And the numbers come out, you get an amount.
Right.
Where does that piece of paper go?
Ruth keeps that right.
So we have this data.
We do.
There should be thousands of them
Well, it should be,
over
But-
the years, right?
Yes,
Where?
but I can tell you this, when you say Ruth keeps them, Joyce keeps hers,
Okay?
and when he was here, Phil kept his.
Oh, boy.
So it's in 3 different places, but the most important part about it is it's not just for me. You have people who are upset that ads are going in that they didn't ask for, prices that they didn't agree to. Now, I think I told you all I sent out, it was almost 100 confirmations. A lot of them came back, some were pretty nasty, others weren't. We have a law firm that had 2 ads that they didn't want. We have a situation, I don't want to get in, where someone pays for a full-page ad and gets 3/4 of a page. That's not right. We have a situation where someone was paying $65 for an 1/8 and got a 1/2 page for months. No one is checking it.
It used to be Myron's job, wasn't it?
Myron would get it. The first one that I got, which was November, I was successful. I went up to Myron. I said, Myron, can you review this? He did the same thing. He went through the paper. But I gotta tell you, after Myron went through it, we went through it, and we picked up 7 ads that were in the paper that were not on the manifest. And that's on just one manifest. Now, we're not supposed to be putting ads into the press until we get paid. I'm gonna tell you, that's not happening. We got thousands of dollars of receivables. You have some deals are special. We have a system that I don't think is good. Dr. Wolf, who is a dentist who puts in an ad all the time, I called him up and he said, I said, Doc, oh, he got one of these things. He said, I paid for this. I said, Doctor, you paid for it. I don't want to take your money. Can you tell me how? He said, well, they always used to charge my account. I said, go look at your account and see if it's been charged. It wasn't charged,
They gave us a credit card for something.
which was not charged.
Effectively.
Yeah, that's not a good idea, I gotta tell you, because we wind up putting ads in because we got a credit card without approval. Now, the law firm is a small law firm that is here in town. I'm being kidded, a small law firm. It's embarrassing to call up and ask for money, okay, when the ad is not supposed to go in. The most embarrassing thing just happened the other day. One of our advertisers who had paid was called, not by me, not by anybody here. First call I heard about and said, pay your bill, you're behind, and it was paid.
Okay.
I think everybody should read this.
I don't want to point fingers and I don't want to.
I'm not, that's why I think they should be.
understand. One person is operating the paper and it's not enough. We used to have 4 or 5 people in there.
Used to have
And
like 8.
more, yeah. We need to get some volunteers. I don't know what else to say.
Well,
We need to get people in there. Is Myron ever coming back? Is Phil coming back?
I can only tell you from what it sounded like, he's not coming.
Not.
Now, I could tell you, you had mentioned who was gonna put it into the system. You know, I just got a scanner. If I had gotten what I'm supposed to get, which is in their contract, I have someone who put in every document into the system.
That's what we need. We need the stuff to be scanned in.
Well,
It's not a problem, give it to me, I'll scan them in.
it should, well, first of all, I'll give it to anybody, but it should come to me to make sure that they're being billed. Now, you have prepared a schedule of what things should be charged.
Okay.
I went to the local newspaper that gets hanged on the door, the Advocate. They have a very nice schedule,
Just the
But-
rate sheet, the rate sheet.
rate sheet. And I don't think you would like to know that I'm getting a full page for $125 less than you are.
Yeah, but I would have to say, gee, if you're calling the Palm Beach Post with 3 million subscribers, how are you gonna compare that to our paper with 7,000 subscribers?
Well, you don't have 7,000.
I'm just saying.
The answer is, but that's what you made up. If you don't want to keep it, then don't keep it.
How do
But
you come up with a reasonable rate to charge, given our circulation? There must be a rule.
there is a rule. There is a rule. It's based on circulation.
Okay.
Okay. Now, if we take what the Advocate gets, and you know the Advocate circulation is a lot bigger than ours and delivered better,
Yeah, of course.
door to door. And they only have 2 people. Him and his son do everything, the bookkeeping, the whole business.
Yeah, but I know what you're talking about. I mean, that's the kind of publication that used to come off a mimeograph machine.
They do the regular printing.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not like our paper.
Well,
No, it's not like a,
but a paper is a paper is a paper.
okay.
We're not giving it away. How about ads that are in the paper that are not being charged for?
Yeah, that's inexcusable.
And I'm not pointing to anyone.
Is this an ad given on spec? Or they're just not being charged, period?
I can't answer the question, but it's in there. And it's been in there for a couple of months. And
Look.
it goes on and on. The simplest thing to do is, first of all, we should advise them. They're getting $2,000 a month to do the job.
2,000.
Yes, you get $975 for Joyce,
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
and you get $1,000 for Greg. Now, for those of you who are not familiar, look at that paper. 75% of those ads are repeats,
Fixed.
okay? The offices go in one place, the ads go in another place. It doesn't, I don't say anybody could do it, but it doesn't take a rocket science to put the paper together that 92% of the time
It's the same.
it is the same. But if they're doing the job, I think the biggest fallacy is, if you read this, oh, and someone who was a volunteer called up to get an address because we don't have addresses. I just got a return for not having an address. We don't have this. And was told, you're not supposed to call. Yes. Our
You're
volunteer,
talking about calling them?
no, calling you because you're behind on your ad.
Oh. Well, okay. I
So-
don't understand that.
Who's the
I
one
don't
that
think,
said-
I don't
Who's the
think,
one that
it's-
said you're not supposed to call?
what?
Who said you're not supposed to call?
That was Joyce.
Okay, then, 'cause she's the one that's supposed to be doing that.
Well,
Is that correct?
Somebody told her to say that.
that's why I think we should put it on the table.
It used to be, from what I understand, Phil's job to call. And
Phil is no longer here.
Right, I'm saying,
And
that
Phil-
was Phil's job to,
Only,
Phil or Myron's job to call the people that were running.
I've
the
talked to
spotlight.
Phil,
All
and
right,
even before he left, Phil only called ads that came across his desk because he didn't know what someone else was booking.
what was that lady's name that passed?
And Phil is not here.
Rain, I can't remember.
The reason I think we should have a meeting is to put it on the table.
All right.
And by the way,
Here's my issue with that. You
yeah,
got one person in there now. You put enough pressure on that old lady, she's gonna walk out of here.
I'm not telling you to put
I'm
any
just
pressure.
saying, you know.
David,
She
put-
needs help.
I'm not,
Exactly.
She needs help.
We need people in there. We need at least 4 more people in there.
well, you have 2 right now, and it's no fun.
2 is not enough for that. lady.
Wait, it's no, listen, when you have most of the information in a computer, when you have Barbara Rivera, who puts the same ad in every single month, and you have Barbara Rivera's address, and you have what Barbara Rivera pays, and you have a contract that says he's taking that ad, you press one button and the invoice comes out. Now, we're in the process right now, because there were two programs which that made no sense, of taking every single piece of information that we do have, putting it into the database in the current QuickBooks that we have,
Okay. That's,
and generate the invoice if someone would give us a piece of paper.
right. Why can't that happen? Go ahead.
All right, we're coming into a year of a pandemic. The committee system that runs this place has pretty much disintegrated. We've gone down to a skeletal staff. And the hardest hit would be the Yuko reporter, right? People just didn't want to come in, they didn't feel safe. Same happened in investigations. The priority for the past year was to get the service out, right? Get those screening reports into the hands of the clients. I was doing home deliveries for 3 months, right? Get that paper out, right? One way or the other, that paper, that's an essential community service, and was the priority over the last year. We've done it with nobody. This is it, this is what we got.
And it shows in a certain way.
Of course it shows it, but,
You're
and
going around in a circle.
actually I'm not, and I waited for my turn,
Yeah,
and now it's my turn to talk.
go ahead.
Right, recognized by the chair, right? I think that over the next months, we'll start to see our volunteers come back. We'll get new volunteers, and we'll start to reconstruct all of the volunteer committees and organizations that make this place function. And getting the money right is absolutely important. And the way you do that is by bringing in new people and bringing in the old people that feel comfortable to come in, organize them, and get them doing their jobs again. But that's not gonna happen today, and it's not gonna happen with a meeting or an inquest or anything like that. It's gonna happen with this pandemic petering itself out and people feel comfortable enough to get involved. It's gonna happen, but we're just gonna have to be a little bit patient about it. And
Are some of the people who used to be there willing to come back? Jody, what was the name of the lady? I don't remember. Little lady. We need to have
are they
some,
willing to? I personally don't feel comfortable asking. I think it's a put upon, right?
okay.
To tell somebody you're needed here, everybody has to make their personal decision where they want to take the risk to get in here and work, right? And for us to say you're needed here, that's going to influence that decision, and that's the last thing I think we should be doing here. We're getting along. The services that we're providing, that will continue, including
Getting
the newspaper.
along in a marginal manner.
Exactly right. We'll get there.
Let me ask another bottom line. Are we losing money anywhere?
You're only losing money by not getting what you're
By
supposed
not charging, not getting the,
to, giving away the store.
yeah.
Now, I hear what you're saying, but I'm saying we have a simple solution to start with. We have enough people from the financial side, not the editorial side. Just give us the document and we're doing the work.
You know, it seems reasonable to me that those rate sheets should be copied to the treasurer. I don't see why that's a problem.
They should be on our database.
Exactly.
And that goes back to Ms. Vespa, it goes back to Joy. Joy did not want those, she kept the separate records and she just wouldn't provide them. We asked years ago.
All right.
I think that's a good, if you want to start someplace, that's a good way to start.
The
I'm
place,
willing to scan in, David's willing to
I
scan
do it
in.
all day long.
I don't feel comfortable asking Ruth to take on another task,
No,
but she's the source of the data. We've got to have the data to scan them in. And it's right, it should be in the database where anybody can find it.
it should be finance, accounts receivable,
Right. But those original rate
Contract.
sheets, you can reconstruct everything, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I think they should be taking a look at, because everything that's on our rate sheet is being put into the computer. So if you
In the
look,
QuickBooks
The
computer.
QuickBooks.
well, that's generating the invoices.
Okay, that's fine.
So what I'm saying is, if you order an eighth of a page,
You wanna get it?
David Israel, an eighth of a page, boom, it's in.
Oh, I gotcha.
So, and it's no easy task to enter all this stuff. So if you want to look at what you've agreed to, and if you want to have some examples of what the differentials are, because, all right, I put in an ad every single month. You put in once in a lifetime. You're entitled to a break, even though it's not. You're supposed to have an address.
You would think.
This is such basic stuff.
Yeah, but if you load too much work on one person,
You're not loading it, David. Just give us the document.
I think over time we'll start to get people want to help. They just have to feel comfortable.
all right, Dom,
Are we spending more money on producing the paper than we have to? You find out front, we used to lose the stack of papers that we had every month. Now they're retaining the pile. So people are either not knowledgeable about the contents of the paper, nor do they care because they're renters and so forth. We're appealing to fewer and fewer people now than
Wow.
we did 5 years ago.
I can-
Well, every newspaper in the United States is losing circulation.
That's it.
All right.
But we have the circulation, but we don't have the eyes that take advantage of that
No,
circulation.
the best circulation would be do what the Advocate does. Put it on the door.
put it on every door.
I can speak to that to some extent. We do adjust our print run month to month, and we just kind of take a guess what we think will go. I can tell you that this month, we have about 30 copies left over, not including what's sitting out here. I don't think staring at this particular pile is a good determinant, because this is a restricted area. Nobody's allowed in here.
But
So of course it's gonna sit there. Nobody.
Well,
not anybody
that-
in.
I'm gonna
that sits-
interrupt
what
you on that, I'm
Sits
sorry.
there,
That's
has
a
to be
different
dragged
problem.
over to the,
Okay,
The
hold on,
clubhouse.
one at a time. Go ahead, Dom.
the papers that were here were also requested by replacing them at the clubhouse.
Yeah.
Now with the clubhouse out of the equation, you don't need as many papers.
Should we in fact be piling the papers up here, or should they be in a standard newspaper dispenser in front of the building?
Well, that's a tough one.
We looked into this. I have the companies, they're good to go. Joy didn't like that idea. I thought the way to go is to put these, they call them honor boxes, right? Because they're not charging anything. They're waterproof, they last forever. Put them in public areas, like outside the clubhouse, outside the real estate office, outside the youth building. Could it be done? Yeah, absolutely.
I was.
What are you gonna save? You're gonna save your delivery charge. Well, we're paying Glow Cleaning Plus to,
I recall a terrible experience years back where the people from, I don't know, Paws for Life or whatever, were scarfing up our papers to put in the bottom of cages.
yeah.
Boy, that was something. Wow.
And one of the, you're talking about if it's costing more, you know, if you wanna save money, the last thing you wanna do is put them on the doors. Because you're gonna have to pay someone to do that.
It's $800. That's what it would cost.
And you're paying $450 now.
Exactly right.
Who does that?
About
800.
Yeah.
You're paying
High
$450.
school kids?
The Advocate has a couple of Century Villagers that actually do it.
Oh, okay.
But one of the differences, and I can't say for sure because I did speak to the Advocate, they use a different printer. And the printer delivers the newspapers in the plastic bag.
But look at those sheets.
Right.
They literally look like something put out by a high school, a guy with a mimeograph machine.
That high schools look
Yeah, but
better
people
than
still read it.
You know? Yeah, of course you
gotta
can
take
read
that
it.
into
I understand.
But
The
this is
Palm
the
Beach
same
Post
as we get.
and the Sentinel come the same way.
No, not in sheets like that.
No, that's it.
I get the Palm Beach Post.
Just
It
to
comes
give
in
you
a
some-
plastic bag.
No, no,
They
okay,
have,
fine.
they have almost the exact same ads, and the reason I know that is because we used to call them and get the ads to put them in our paper.
Oh,
Just to give you guys some.
We're sort of going around in a circle. Like,
Look, short of recruiting and getting some people in there, what other action should we take?
well,
Because I don't, I love Ruth, but she's 88 years old, and this is a big job for her.
Yep.
Essentially alone. I wouldn't think a minute, I would not dare ask her to scan these rate sheets in.
we're not.
It's just too much, someone else, and I'm willing to do it.
I'll take a piece.
David is willing to do it, It's not a hard job, but not to dump on her. We need people. We need to get some people in here,
Well,
right? Now, a lot of people have been vaccinated, not enough. There's still this open window, 55 to 65. There may be something coming on that. But we need to get people in here.
the scanning should be done after the billing is done. You don't want to go into the database to pull out something. Once you produce the invoice, you put it right into the database.
Well, to me, putting the rate sheet in, I don't care when you put it in. That database to me is the ultimate, in case you have an audit, you have the basic record.
Right.
That's the basic record from whence everything flows. But somebody has to do it. It's easy to say, but someone has to do it.
I have.
I mean, Bob handed me a pack like this. And my piece of this puzzle is to take the email addresses and enter them into MailChimp. You know how long that takes
I don't even want to
to
guess.
put them in one at
Takes a
a
while.
time? And half the time, you're already in there. But you gotta check them, right? It takes dozens and dozens of hours. And Bob gave me a pack, it must be 40, 50 deep. And if I could get that done in half a year, I'd be amazed.
It's
We need more people. It's donkey work, it's classical donkey work. You need a patient individual, 1, 2, 3, who will do that kind of work.
We need the corresponding secretary that's supposed to be doing
And,
it.
and how do we get, and how do we,
She's absent.
Yeah. well,
David, the average number of ads runs between 30 and 40 ads per issue. Depends. You got more ads when you had the election. You know, you had a bunch of candidates, okay, which none of the information was there. So what I'm saying is, I have a volunteer who's done it before. Barbara Corner said she'll come in and put it in.
I asked Barbara to do exactly this kind of work.
me too.
To sit at the admin desk. I don't understand her response. To this very day, I don't
I
understand
don't
this
know what she
response.
means.
She said to me, I already have a husband. I don't need a second husband. What the hell does that mean?
I don't know, maybe she does.
You know?
David, I can't answer for her and your relationship.
Experience, yes.
Okay. All I know is she didn't come in for a while because she didn't want to come in because of the virus.
Understood.
Now she has both shots. And she does come back in and she makes the deposits, comes in, counts it, makes the deposits. And she's more than willing to put it into the database. And if no one yells at her, because she got very upset, I'll show you the email. She's more than willing to call Joe Smith and say you're 60
yell at
days
someone.
behind. Now, you get more people, you don't have to use this. But right now, today, just getting the contracts is a start. I
Wait a minute, who yelled at Barbara?
What?
Who yelled at Barbara? Was it Bob?
Who yelled at Barbara?
Just said something.
George.
Now, why is it gotta be me? Why is it gotta be, the only person I yell at is you.
You said if she doesn't get yelled at, who yelled at her?
Yeah, Yeah, okay, so
And him
there's
sometimes.
back channel communications.
It doesn't matter at this point. What matters is if she's willing to do it and someone else isn't doing it, what's the big deal?
I have no problem with that.
The only thing is you have to explain to the person who yelled it and said you can't do it.
Was it Ruth that yelled at Barbara?
No,
Who was it then?
Joyce.
Okay, we can handle that.
That's not even a person here.
How would that be?
I'll tell you what happened. She called up for an address to Joyce. And Joyce said, why are you calling? Oh, a telephone number, because we didn't have all the phone numbers. Joyce said, you can't do that, that's my job.
You're off the hook, Bob.
Jesus.
Thank you.
All right, trouble in paradise.
Yeah.
David,
I'm not up to look here.
It seems to me, this is all extremely interesting information. But it seems to me that we have to come up with a target date and start moving forward instead of
I
looking
got you.
backwards.
Well, okay, you know, I would suggest to you what's gonna happen with Ruth in there alone. It's gonna be a classical case of the light that failed.
No, I'm not,
There's gonna be a complete breakdown there, and you've got no one else in there
I'm not
to
talking
get
about
the paper out.
I'm not talking about the editor's
Okay.
job of it. So whatever these
Financing.
Right.
financial problems are, that we just can't keep looking backwards. We have to set some type of a date and start moving forward from that.
But he has a right to the data.
Yeah, sure
There's
does.
no magic. He shouldn't have to pick the paper up every month and,
I agree.
and cut the ads out. You know, give me a break.
I agree. You know, I did payables and receivables for 20-some years, so I understand what that's going on. But, you know, you just can't all of a sudden, let's talk about it. I said, okay, let's set some type of a date. This is our target date, and we're gonna start doing this at this time.
Well,
I think everyone should put on their recruiter hat. If you know someone who would like to come in and be trained and work on the paper, see if you can encourage that to happen.
Absolutely. I've probably gotten more volunteers here than, except for Donald.
I think one
Your
way to
target
get
date
some people here
is
is
a
to
good
take
idea.
away.
Whoa.
Hold on.
One at a time, please.
One way to get people in here is to take away the restriction of having to be an owner. You can have people that are renters who want to volunteer.
Well, that's a conversation for another time, in my
Right.
opinion. There's some things I agree with they should be able to do, and some things I don't think they should be able to.
As far as, personal information and stuff, no, I wouldn't
Seems
want.
like we might have something from Rod on.
We do.
Right.
All right, so as we reconstruct the Yuko reporter, let's just go with the finance side, right? As we do that, policy should be put in place that these people are trained to interact with the treasurer. Treasurer
Right.
needs to know how
Exactly.
much and where the money's going. That's just
Well,
obvious.
I agree
You
with
won't get
David.
any, you won't get any argument here.
I hear you. And you jump in some. I started to say I agree with David that you do need in any project a target. Here's a simple target. A new paper's coming out. I don't feel like cutting up a new paper. I just need the documents.
Of course.
My scissor is getting dull.
All right. I would think a word to Ruth is in order. I don't understand this. There's no osmosis going on here. That doesn't make a lot of sense. She must have these sheets piled up by the literally hundreds someplace. Where are they going?
Well, I'm gonna interject here, David, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I've heard here, maybe not recently, but recently and for a long time, that only certain people from the Yuko reporter were actually allowed to get in contact with OPS.
Yes.
And maybe this is what happened with Barbara. Maybe this Joyce, who I've never met, Maybe she was instructed and she's
She
still
clearly
following
was.
directives that I'm, just like me calling Seacrest for my association. I'm not allowed to do that, you know, I have to go through the channel. And maybe that's what happened.
Well, I could tell you this, I got
I'm not saying, Ed, I'm not saying about the discourtesy that might have happened. I'm just saying that might have been the reason that happened.
I will show you the email where I sent one, not to Joyce, because she's an employee.
Right.
I sent it to Greg, that I'm not getting this. And he said, our contact is Donald Foster. Ask him. And ask Ruth. I get no response from Ruth. I don't want to get into an argument with her.
Well, this is
The
my
bottom
point.
line is,
This is my point. I brought this up saying, I know that's probably
He's
what
been
happened.
told to say that,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
It's obvious, you see it, you see right
Exactly.
through it,
Sure.
okay?
I'm sorry to interrupt.
no, that's okay. If you feel like cutting up newspapers, I'll be more than glad to allocate
We
it.
need that data, we need the data to be accessible,
No, yeah, you can't just not give data.
right?
And this is money, it's unit owner money.
What would happen if an auditor picked up on this?
Exactly right.
It would be embarrassing.
Yeah.
It would be embarrassing.
Well,
This-
I can say that one time when I was working at the York Country Club, we had a cash box and we had a part-time worker take all the cash out and doing the audit with the accountant every month. I opened up the cash box, there was nothing there, and he said, David, we have nothing to audit.
All right, I just wanna, if it's okay, I just wanna bring one option up, just for consideration. What if we can't put together a new staff? It could happen, right? Then we have to make some hard decisions. One of the plan Bs that I always had in mind is, why does a newspaper have to be this many people? Why
I
don't
can't
we-
hear you, sorry.
What if we just didn't have advertising? What if we cut the paper to the bare bones to what we need to get out to the community? You go business and community and service,
100%
Just-
unrecovered expense.
which is what we always did until we started taking advertising. One of the ways you have to stop having arguments about advertising, not to have any. But you'd have to cut that newspaper down to, it would have to look like the.
It wouldn't be a newspaper.
You could have newspapers without it. The problem which you have, I'm sorry, is that once you give up your advertisers and decide that you want to go back, you think it's that
Well,
easy?
you never get them back.
Okay, so why make that decision?
I mean, the bylaws don't say that it has to be the format that it is now.
It doesn't say
It could
anything.
be a newsletter, it could be it could be a digital only product, which is the way newspapers are going to begin with.
Well, I don't want to see that.
I
I
think
don't
it-
either, 'cause I love the thing,
I
it
think
makes us-
that's going to the extreme. I think you have a paper, it does have advertisers. I had people tell me I've been advertising in the paper for 15 years. The same guy told me, if you raise me $5, I'm not gonna go with you anymore, okay? You're then gonna say, should I lose him or whatever? We're not at that point, we're at a simple point
Right.
to get the documents and get it out.
Yeah, this should be easy, it really should.
That's,
Yeah.
yeah.
They're being stuffed in a drawer somewhere, they gotta be discovered, and they gotta be made available. Go ahead, Paul.
If you take away the advertising, then you're gonna have people inundating that poor person on the desk. Like, I need to find a contractor for this, I need to find a contractor for that, and it's happened before, so
We used to have that.
you used to have a book there
Yep.
with approved contractors.
Yeah, I do that book with the
Okay,
And
the only way to stop that is to keep your advertisers. If somebody wants to have a contractor for something, let them look in the paper.
I think one of the joys, one of the things I always liked about the paper is that the costs are long-term approximately covered.
Yeah.
It doesn't cost us money.
And it does bring in money. But let me tell you, you can't just cut it off anyway, because there are people who have contracts for 8 more months. You got,
I have no desire to do that. I don't think
And
that's,
you have some very,
That'd be crazy.
very loyal customers.
yes, exactly.
I've been with you 12 years, I've been 15. A lot of people built up their business
Mhm.
and their livelihood on this village.
All right.
I think that newspaper adds to the character of this village. I think it's part of our community, and I'm proud that we put that out.
All right, look,
Nobody does this.
I will talk to Ruth. I will tell you right off the bat, I'm sure you know this, one of the problems here is personal animosity.
Of course.
There's no doubt in my mind. So I will try to cajole Ruth, and one way or another, we will discover these rate sheets. God knows, I mean, I'm sure she's not throwing them out, right? They're stashed away someplace.
Stashed away someplace.
So it has to be discovered, and not only retro, but on a timely basis. All right?
It could come in, since we're not charging everybody at the door, it could come in even somewhat after the paper is put together,
I got you.
okay? Because once it's in, it's easier to go, I got an ad for this, I got an ad for that. Now, but the other problem is, if Joyce says it's her job as the last stop, we should not have situations where 5, 7 ads have gone through into the paper
Without payment.
without payment, without even being on the rate sheet.
One of these people with favored nation status, what is that about? All right, this is very interesting, and it will have to be resolved. And slowly, she turned. What else you got?
The only thing I would get is, I think, once you have this resolved, it will not be hard to get additional advertisers. I know that for a fact. Because we have a product, and it's been around a long time. What we don't have, when you say volunteers, you don't have to have a volunteer. People want to make money. And I can tell you, this is from experience. All the ads that were in the paper that I own were solicited by independents who got a piece of the action. And not only that, they knew that if they didn't get paid, the ad wasn't paid, they didn't get paid.
You know, it's interesting because until this virus thing came up, a little group of us used to go out for dinner on Saturday night. Years back, I used to take a copy of the Reporter with me. And I'd find the manager, Zuccarelli's, you name it. Say, no, look, you get thousands of eyes on this in Century Village every month. Would you be interested in doing an ad? Just call the number. Not hard. It's not hard to get ads that way. The issue would be, and we discussed this years ago, where our volunteers, a few of them, would go out to all the mom and pops around here, not necessarily the big box stores who already have contracts into infinity, and try to get ads. God, it can't be that hard to do.
It's not. And I think if you put the word out, there is no end of people who live in this village who have sales experience, who would be willing to make a little pocket money and get out there and sell ads. I think you would have nothing but ads.
That's
You have
the
to
other
turn them away.
side. This was another dream we had, if you remember, to put up those little flyers in the buses. But that never came to fruition.
I think if you guys put that out, there's nothing but salespeople in this place. They'll sell the crap out of this.
You have people here who'd be more than glad to go out and solicit and make some extra money.
I think you're right.
You got right.
I think we've spent enough time on this.
You had enough.
Yeah,
You got anything else?
No, except everybody should be well,
Alright.
Do our best.
and
Did we get to you, Bob?
no, not yet.
No, I think we should get to you now.
And now it involves the paper again.
Oh,
Should
boy.
we have a break
Okay.
and go get a cup of tea?
No,
All right.
no,
The-
this is gonna be very quick. All right, as far as the officer, by the way, that needs a seal on it. And, I'd like to get your email address if possible. All right.
305.
The officer delegate,
It says 305.
No, he needs email, he wants the
you need
email
a seal.
addresses.
Not everybody's willing to give up their.
That's fine,
No,
but,
that's fine,
you also need a seal on it.
yeah.
The officer delegate, and contact report, or cert contact report. I am going to be issuing a list and publishing it in the paper. Anybody that has not updated within 2 years, within the last 2 years. I got people that
All right,
2015, 2010 have not updated these. People have died and they're not updating.
you have
So,
a paragraph with it. You know, you're giving up your voting rights, you're not represented at delegate assembly, but
and
don't hold them up to ridicule. That's
No,
all.
I'm not trying to hold them up to ridicule. I'm just trying to get our paperwork in here all up to date,
No, I understand,
right?
that's fine.
I've had situations where somebody just submitted, their new paperwork, and I called their president up because there was something that needed to be corrected. I've actually been calling these people up and letting them know, hey, this needs to be corrected. Do you want me to correct it over the phone? And I will do it over the phone.
Yeah.
Right? And I take it to Dave after I initial it. I take it to Dave and he initials it.
He's very nice on the
Right.
phone.
Very nice phone manner, I must say.
Are you saying that surprising?
I've been,
Well, because his in-person manner sometimes.
oh, shut up. All right, look, I'm trying to get all these paperwork up to date. And so that if we have an emergency, you know, we have a CERT contact, all right? If these people are putting down a CERT contact, I'm automatically putting their president down as the contact. That's automatic to me, right? Whether the president wants it or not, he's gonna get called, all right? If we have a hurricane,
What if he's in the eye of the lung?
what?
What if he's in the eye of the lung? Does he still get the call?
He's still gonna get the
All right.
call. You know, somebody can hold the phone to his ear. All right, I wanna get this stuff up to date, straightened out, and have nothing older than 2 years on here. All right, it should be every year, people should be turning these things in after their annual meetings. Which tells me that a lot of these places are not having annual meetings.
It's very much harder today. It used to be easier when you had to file with FCHR.
Yep.
When that requirement went away, people just got lazy.
And I'm also trying to have everything uniform, okay? I'm being an ex-military man, all right? To me, everything's gotta be uniform, all right?
That's
So,
not my fault.
hey, sorry.
That's not the
So-
real world.
So the forms were revamped, and I have a little box where it's 1 to 5, and it's 5 steps to have this thing completely done. And, you know, we're trying to get everything done. I did try to teach the other secretary, but she refused to do it, so now I'm doing it, and well, anyway, I'm gonna get off of that right now.
Well, the difficulty you have is that you don't have the right software. Think of any organization, AAA, you automatically get a letter, your dues are expired,
Oh, yes.
automatic. This is the same thing,
Well,
but we don't have that kind of software.
Wait a minute.
no, we don't have people that can make the software, so,
You want to pay for that? We can have it.
no.
We can have it.
You can have any,
I think,
but
in
he's doing
fact,
a good job in this way.
I think there are extensions in QuickBooks that will allow it.
It will, but you have to, the same thing,
Right.
you have to put it in.
Right.
You have
Okay.
to input. Now, we can have 2 people on at the same time,
Yes.
and even in the same program. And some of the people that are working now are not working on the hours we're here. They're doing it at home when they could fill in. It makes no difference because it's getting done. But I think if you want to do that, you have to assign a thing to a person. You can't have the same, 4 people doing the same job. So I think you have a great idea, and so do you. Everything has to be planned, but you gotta start somewhere.
There's also a problem where you have a lot of associations where the president is also the treasurer, and that just
That's
not good.
I
know-
understand what you're
I know-
saying.
I know-
We can't interfere in their
I
business,
know we
Bob.
can't, we're not supposed to, all right, but, I mean, we should at least be advising them not to do that.
No, years ago, I put this to Rod, and I start seeing president, treasurer, secretary,
One person.
the same person. He says it's very bad practice. It's just bad practice. Do we have the power to say no? No, we don't.
No, we don't, but,
We can play bully pulpit,
That's it.
but there is a piece of paper from Rod that definitely labels that as bad practice. And it's interesting. If you remember the Leslie Darrigan case of embezzlement, this was one of those situations. She handled everything to do with money. And spent a lot of it over in, what's the name of that place? With the
Barbados?
slot machines.
The casino?
That's what we're
Across
missing.
the street.
That's what we're missing here.
Yeah. All right. Bob, you got anything else?
no, that's it.
Anybody need a second bite at the apple?
One thing, David,
Go ahead.
and I mentioned it before. I was on with the auditor, and I've talked to Tony. I think you need someone,
Tony Insurance?
yeah, to nudge. I sent it to you September 1st, you signed the documents for the refund. From September 1st to
And we
now,
don't have that money.
we haven't even had a confirmation that they received it.
Have those 2 line items been canceled?
No.
The 2 line of premium items.
The premium is in insurance.
I understand. But
No, the tentative refund is not canceled and is not booked. Because what number are we gonna use?
what are we gonna have to do? Go to the problem is this was done under legacy.
Could
And
we,
they're not gonna lift a finger. We would have to go to the carrier. Now we have to go to the carrier.
what if we send the carrier confirmation?
I agree. I don't know, well, let me talk to Tony.
I
This
saw
was legal defense and environmental baloney. Yeah, I remember now.
what Tony
It was
told,
this huge policy.
Terrorism or something like that.
what
No, environmental something or other.
No,
900,
that was that, yeah.
With the asbestos nodules on the ceiling.
2%.
David, what Tony told me is that it's possible that the refund went to legacy.
Oh my God.
They're the.
Well, again, we would have to get that information from the carrier.
But she said it's possible.
Oh boy, bunch of crooks.
Well, I'm not saying they did, but don't forget they're the carrier of record.
This is real money. We're talking 50, 60 grand.
I would hope so, and that's why I'd like to get an indication, that's a big number, not to change the report.
I thought it was like 300.
No, you paid 250,000
Right, right.
between the 2 policies.
But there's prorata, you
And-
don't get it all back.
And Tom, not in writing, said he talked to the carriers and they're not gonna charge us a fee for early cancellation.
Oh, joy or
Oh, isn't that special?
Well, that could be a lot of money.
It's okay, but if the quid pro quo they're not quoting is, yeah, we'll just keep the money.
For canceling something that we shouldn't have had to do.
Right.
Well, we can't go backwards. Well, that's why I wanna bring it up. Maybe it needs a
You should
little
bring
bit.
it. That's good, and I will. I'm gonna talk to Tony.
Somebody should be doing jail time over that.
Let me talk to Tony.
These are big companies.
You're telling me.
And they're subject,
Was this Philadelphia or American Coastal?
I think one of them is Philly.
Yeah.
And you could tell on the sheets I sent you.
All right. We got anything else?
Nope,
Going?
go on.
Adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just as far as.
Oy.
Bay. You can't say I without bay.
Exactly.
Oh, the pain.
Oy vey.
Boy,
Boy, the pain.
boy, I didn't say
Bay
boy.
is pain.
Yeah.
Hi, Eva, it's Donald. How are you?
Did we get a recording this time?
Good. Listen,
Yes, we
you have
did.
A few minutes to take the car ride with me. I gotta show you what's going on at the, at the, Dorchester